I did the Camino because I felt that I needed a change in my life. I needed to challenge myself. I needed like a catalyst. I think there's things that you want to change in yourself, but you can't do it, like you're stuck in a rut and you can't necessarily do it unless you've got that big thing, like you need to do something big to change your attitude and to give yourself the best chance.
I'd been ordained for 4 years when I walked the Camino, and I'd realised that I'd already become flabby, so to speak, in my spiritual life, in my prayer life. That you give yourself something to for your entire life, and that, they call it in marriage about like the 7-year itch or something. You get to a point where you realise that the fun is gone and it's about just the hard work, the grind.
When I left to do the Camino, my main goal to come home was just to be closer to God, to strengthen my relationship with Christ. I was hoping to be fitter as well, which obviously that's a given, but for me it was, just to be closer to God and maybe have a better idea of where my life was going. I've been on many pilgrimages, but this was a pilgrimage. Like, this was a full-on pilgrimage where you are carrying everything on your back. You know, you are being an olden day pilgrim, you know.
Those first 2 weeks, you just had to grind through. You just had to keep pushing through, and there were some really long days, 35, 40-kilometre days, big mountains, crossing the Pyrenees, like the hardest physical thing, and just your body's not used to that kind of work.
Blisters. I think all up the whole Camino, I think I had nearly 20 blisters. And it was just ridiculous. Like, the only day that I didn't have a blister was the first day. The rest of the time I was walking with these horrible blisters, and so it was pain, you know. Physically, that was hard.
It was challenging, particularly the first 5 days. They all said it would be, because your body's adjusting. It's not used to that routine of, you know, the 25k a day walk or whatever it may be. And the backpack, you know, having 10, 15 kilos on your back, adding to your weight that you normally wouldn't have, really presented shoulder soreness, you know, muscle soreness, and your legs particularly.
The accommodation was quite poor. Some places were better than others. There were moments where the beds were so close together that you were literally sleeping next to someone you didn't know.
And like, if you've got snorers, it's just an orchestra every night of just people snoring non-stop. Very hot, no air conditioning in these places. I mean, you'd have 4 showers between 90 people, so you'd be waiting a while. So it was basic, but it was good. All you wanted at the end of each day was a bed, somewhere to lay your head, have a bit of a nap and get up and go again.
So those middle 2 weeks are in what's called the Masada, or the desert stage, and it's long, dry, hot days without water fountains, without chairs to sit on, and you're just walking each and every day through what is, in most parts, a semi-desert. And that really makes you think, and it gives you time to really start processing things about your life. And it is when you don't have anything else, when you don't have the distractions of the world, when you don't have the distractions of shops and busyness and people, where you really are faced with asking yourself some of those deeper questions about life and about vocation and discernment.
Emotionally, yes, there had its moments, and those are the moments where the Camino brings up parts of your life that you probably wouldn't have brought up.
Definitely there were points when I felt lonely, when I'd been split off from the group. Initially I was sort of walking behind the group, plus I had blisters, and everybody was just passing me. I feel like I was the last person of all the pilgrims to arrive.
As you start the Camino, you're encouraged to bring with you a rock from your home country. And the rock is symbolic to you of your own sinfulness, your own brokenness, the things that you're walking the Camino for. And you carry it with you the entire journey until you reach the point of Cruz de Ferro, and you leave the rock behind. So this cross that stands on this tall pillar on this mountain is surrounded by a mound of people's prayers, people's sins, symbols of why people walk the Camino and what they hope to change in their life going forward.
We got to the cross and we all just went silent. You know, we'd been laughing and carrying on all the way up the hill, and we all just sort of fell silent. And I think we took in the sacredness of the moment.
To walk up the steep hill the next day, get to Cruz de Fierro, leave that rock behind and tell God I was sorry for my sins. It was a very emotional time for all of us.
I definitely had a teary moment, but it was really nice, yeah.
And a really good feeling, walking away from Cruz de Fierro, after placing our rock down, and you felt like you could fly. Like, you felt very light. You know, you felt free, I suppose is a better word. You feel very holy. But you soon realise, you know, 10, 15 minutes down the road that you've left the past behind, but here comes the future. Be ready, you know, brace yourself. It's the hardest question when you do something like this, is how was your trip? Because you can say it was amazing and it was life-changing and incredible, but they're just words. Unless they were there to experience the things you experienced and to hear the things you heard, it's going to mean nothing to them.
You do need to be courageous to do the Camino. You need to be willing to challenge yourself and to be up for anything, you know, to sleep in a room with 50 other people.
I've never laughed as much as I did for those 6 weeks. And it surprises you because you should have cried. But we laughed.
It has changed my life in how I look at things. It made me realise how simple life can be, because every day we were waking up and you just had what was on your back. You didn't need all the other material possessions. It was just you and God.
Biggest thing I learnt was that I can do it. You know, that it's possible.
Have a change of clothes on and a change of clothes in your bag each night, to have to wash your clothes, hand wash your clothes in a bucket each night. It worries you to begin with, but by the end you go, how much stuff do I have in my normal life that I don't really need? How much stuff do I fill my life with that is actually just weighing me down?